Hey, what's up, everyone? I hope you guys are all doing pretty good. Now, I think I had to put this list together because of the fact that a lot of times games, they promise you or they say stuff like the producers and directors, they all say something really fluffy and nice about the games. And sometimes, especially in recent times, don't deliver on their promises. And I kind of put this list together because, things are bound to repeat themselves, like for instance, Sea of Thieves and No Man's Sky, and especially now with Fallout 76, we have to be really cautious. I don't know about you guys, but I don't have money to be throwing around, so I have to be really careful. I absolutely love video games, but I have to be really careful as far as which games I can actually spend some money on and spend some of my time, which is very important. So I thought I'd put this list together for you guys, and I have to apologize. I am a little bit sick, but I felt like I should put, a video together. I didn't want to spend too much time without actually producing something. So I apologize if I sound a little bit sick, a little bit rough on the microphone, but hopefully you guys will understand. And yeah, like I said, a lot of times, games, I never got drawn into the No Man's Sky hype and all that. I was actually sick and in the hospital, so I never really got exposed to it, which I'm really glad I did because, after I got out of the hospital and I was actually feeling a lot better months down the line, I went into a video game store and they were putting the hype around No Man's Sky, but since I never had heard of it, I really didn't pay attention to it. But one that actually did kind of suck me in was Sea of Thieves. Now, I never actually ended up buying the game, but I did, end up playing the game a little bit with Game Pass, which it was pretty cool because you could actually play it with the first time that it actually came out. So, I played it and it was really bare bones, really dry, and now a lot of updates have come out, but I'm kind of like, I don't know if you're like me, but if you're like me, then you'll say, well, they had their chance. There's new video games coming out. There's a lot of other stuff that really needs my attention, and I really don't want to waste my time with it. So that's why I thought I'd put this list together. I want these games to absolutely do really good, but only if the developers and the publishers are doing what they're supposed to, and not just trying to make a quick buck off of the consumer and then leaving us high and dry. I've been seeing so much news about EA Sports and Fallout 76 with Bethesda, and it's just absolutely horrible. So I think that that's the reason why I'm going to put this list together for you guys. And you know what, I thought that the best way to do it would be to break it up into like 3 categories. Now the categories that I have are either wait for reviews, which is a couple of games I have there, try it out for myself, which I have another couple of games there, and stay away from completely, which we'll be going into that here, why I will actually stay away from those games. So first and foremost, I want to mention right off the bat Kingdom Hearts 3, which is coming out later on this month. It's absolutely one of the games that I've been looking forward to. I played the original when the PlayStation was out. I believe it's a PlayStation or PlayStation 2, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So I ended up playing it. I absolutely loved it. I love the premise of it. I love the characters. I love the design. I am a big JRPG fan, so I just said, what the heck, why not? But I fell off when they started doing the handheld versions and stuff like that, so I never really got into it that much. But Kingdom Hearts 3 for me is a game that I absolutely wanted to succeed. As long as Square Enix and Nintendo and all that, they were all going against the consumer as far as streaming the games, not being very consumer friendly with it. But Kingdom Hearts 3 for me is actually the first one on my list, and I have to say that I'm going to put it in the category that I'm going to try it out for myself. I definitely want to. This is a game that I've been waiting for. I've had it on my list and on my radar for quite a while now, and there's another game that I want to get into, but I don't have it on my list here, so it's not part of this little hesitant or being cautious, being wary, being careful of these games. But Kingdom Hearts 3, I think, to me, has a great potential. I've been watching a lot of video on it, and it's so cool that Baymax is going to be in there, a lot of the Toy Story characters, and of course Sora and everyone else, Donald Duck, Pixar, so it seems like it's actually going to be a really cool game. It does have a lot of cool little things. It's really cool when you're actually in a certain scene when you're out in the street and you're very miniature, like you're actually toy doll running around fighting and stuff like that, and being propelled with Andy and Buzz Lightyear and stuff like that. So I thought that was pretty cool. Just the whole premise of it, the whole look of it, it looks actually really cool. It does remind me of Final Fantasy. I hope that doesn't offend anyone. I hope that doesn't trigger anyone. But yeah, it's a game that I'm going to be looking forward to it, so I definitely have to put in that one of the categories, and it is try it out for myself. That's one of the games that I definitely will have a look at. Now, I'm not going to wait for any reviews. I'm not going to wait for anyone to try to sway my mind or make up my mind for me. So let's go ahead and jump into the next one, which is The biggest one that's actually coming out, and it's actually Anthem. Anthem seemed like an absolutely unique IP. It was absolutely wonderful, but once you start taking into consideration the maker of it, it's just you really start becoming hesitant, or at least I do. I don't really want to look into this game as far as I wanted to. And after looking at some of the gameplay footage, it just looks a lot like Destiny. It looks like a ripoff of it. It does remind me of Zone of Enders. And when I started looking at some of the gameplay footage, when they were doing some of the show-offs for the suits, I'll put that here in a second. But the AI just looks absolutely atrocious. It just doesn't look good. It doesn't respond properly when they're shooting up at the gamer or the player. They're just walking in backwards in a straight line, and I'll probably let you guys be the judge of that, and you guys can look at the gameplay yourself. But the AI does not look very responsive, does not look very intelligent. When I was watching some of the alpha gameplay, which is available throughout the YouTube channels, it just, I don't know, the voice acting, the Destiny look to it, but Warframe, it looks a lot like that. And yeah, I mean, a lot of people are being hyped by the game, and just and I don't know, it doesn't really appeal to me anymore, especially after the blunders and stuff like that have been taking place with this. And the main reason why I'm actually going to be staying away from it is because of the fact that EA has its paws on it. And I don't like to bash, companies. I don't like to bash publishers. But, once you start showing your hand and you start showing exactly what you're made of as far as where the consumer stands with you. And there's a lot of stuff that's been going on with EA. A lot of their loot box controversy within FIFA, within Madden, within all these other franchises. That's the reason why I'm going to have to stick this one into the category that I'm actually going to stay away from it. Yeah, I might sneak a peek here and there to see the gameplay footage here and there, but it's just like No Man's Sky. It's like Sea of Thieves. It's like what was this other game, Fallout 76. I completely stayed away from those games, and I just hope that my opinion will help you guys understand that, hey, you know what, maybe it's better not to pre-order it. Maybe it's better not to just buy it the first day. Maybe have some, wait for some reviews and stuff like that, and see if the game's actually going to be cool. It does look really cool as far as being able to fly around and stuff with different kind of exosuits, but just the way the voice actors were presenting the characters, I'm not sure if it didn't seem like the voice acting was actually that good. And like I said, if you look at a lot of the AI in there, it's just not very responsive. It just kind of lets you walk up to it without actually ever shooting at you or trying to cause you any sort of damage. So I'm going to definitely put that into the category that I'm going to actually stay away from that completely. Alright guys, so another one, I've actually made a video on this one really recently, is Crackdown 3. Crackdown 3, I was looking at it, it was pretty cool, I was pretty hyped about it. I never played any of the first Crackdowns, 1 or 2, and I have to say that I was actually pretty cool. I was like, hey, you know what, Terry Crews is going to be a part of it. After watching some of the gameplay footage and just how much this game has been delayed, I just don't know if it has a cell shaded look to it, kind of like the Borderlands, the Tales from the Borderlands kind of game. That was a goofy game, had some really cool premise to it. It had a storyline that was actually like, whoa, that was pretty cool. This one has that same kind of look to it, that same kind of vibe. It doesn't take itself that seriously, but after looking at some of the gameplay footage, demo and stuff like that, it just doesn't seem like it's going to be living up to the hype, unfortunately. Just a lot of folks have been talking about the graphics, and I know a lot of times graphics don't have a lot to do with gameplay, but it just doesn't look that good for a 2019 release. You can tell this has actually been pushed back. It looks maybe like a 2016-17 release, and it's pretty cool when you can actually pick up some big monsters or big guys that are running around and you can throw them at other people. Like I said, it doesn't take itself pretty seriously, so that's actually pretty cool. I just want to wait and see on this one, but I will put it in the try it for myself category, since I do have a subscription to Game Pass. I will be playing this the first day and then giving you guys a little bit of thoughts of my feedback on what I think about it. But yeah, the graphics are really dated on it. I do love cell shaded graphics though. I really do like that. I like the presentation of it, but like I said, a lot of people have been looking at the gameplay and like, oh, that doesn't look that good. Actually, it looks like some sort of older, 2005 title or something like that. And yeah, it doesn't take itself seriously, but at the same time, it doesn't present itself in a proper way that says, hey, you know what, I would want to be a part of that. I do love the commercials, Terry Crews in it. I do love a lot of the trailers and stuff like that, but this is going to be on this list because of that, because of the fact that it just doesn't look that good and it's been pushed back so long that you just have to be really careful with titles like this. But yeah, I don't have to put any money out of pocket, so I'm going to go ahead and try it for myself, and I'm going to keep it in that category for you guys. Now, the next ones are a couple of them, actually all three of these are kind of in the same category because there hasn't been a whole lot of released on it. So let's have a look. The next one up is actually Halo number 6, or how it's being called is Halo Infinite. So the trailer for it was pretty cool because of the fact that it was in the Halo universe, and Master Chief helmet, you can see it there at the end towards the trailer. But I had to be really careful because the last Halo title that was released was actually just bugged and marred by microtransactions, and that's why I had to put it on this list, because of the fact that I wanted to succeed. I played Halo 1, 2, and 3, and I absolutely loved it. 2 is where I started gaming online with Xbox, the original Xbox, and then my little sister and I got into it. I believe it was in 3, so it has a lot of great memories for me. But after they started putting in all those microtransactions, it kind of just split the data, the player base. And then I can't remember which game it was where they started giving me these like weird power-ups and stuff like that. It didn't sit well with me. It was pretty cool power-ups, but I had to put it on this list that I had to be very cautious about, looking at which games I'm actually going to purchase and which games I might look at, which games I'm going to wait. So Halo Infinite, which is Halo 6, I'll have to put it in the wait for reviews catalog, so or the category. So that's actually going to be something that until I start seeing a little bit more about it. I did like Halo Wars 2, which is like an RTS real-time strategy game. I did like that one. I love the story. I absolutely loved it. It blew me away, the story did, but there just wasn't enough there. An RTS compared to a first-person shooter like the Halo franchise is. It's a lot different, so I played the last Halo, which is Halo 5 Guardians, if I'm not mistaken, but I just never really got drawn into it. I never paid money for it, so that's why I had to put this one into the wait for reviews, and I might potentially actually stay away from it like I did with Halo 5. I only played Halo 5 because my little sister and I started playing it together. So, I do have to be fair. We haven't heard much about this game. The trailer looked okay from what it was. It was cool at the end with the Master Chief's helmet, the Spartan helmet there. But there's just not a whole lot there, so I just had to kind of put that in the category. Now, one game that I haven't heard too much about, and the only reason why I'm actually even going to cover it is because of the last time that the way that Happy Games actually came out onto the scene with No Man's Sky. And typically, I like to kind of read about games and learn more about them and then know exactly what I'm going to get myself into. But this game is coming out this year. It is it's called The Last Campfire. I do have to admit that this game actually looks pretty cool as far as the graphics, the presentation of it. It does have a pretty nice little theme to it. But I do have to put it on this list because of the fact that I just want to kind of bring it all to your attention and say, hey, you know what? Maybe you should be a little bit more hesitant and careful about purchasing some of these games, and maybe just wait until you actually know a little bit more about it. It does give me a little bit of that Journey feel. It's the indie game that came out not too while back. The character looks pretty good, but I do have to actually put it into the category that I'm actually either going to stay away from it or just wait for the review. But more than likely, I'm going to stay away from it. I'd love to actually cover a game like this. I'd like to play it. It does have some pretty cool characters. It does have some nice little ring to it. I think it is more of a 2D or 3D platformer game. So it does remind me a little bit of Ori and the Will-o'-the-Wisp and the Ori and the Blind Forest. I think that actually is a really good title, but just given the track record for Hello Games, which is a publisher for this one, it's just one of those things that I'm going to have to kind of stay away from and say, well, if it comes out and is maybe on sale, then maybe I'll actually look into it. Or if I can actually get it for free somewhere along the line with part of a subscription or part of some sort of review kind of thing. It does have a wonderful premise. It does look actually like it's going to be pretty interesting, but I don't like rewarding when in the past, you kind of have to look into the past and know what the publisher and what the game developer is going to actually do with the future. So that's actually why I had to put that into my stay away from category. Like I said, it does look actually pretty cool. So it is something that I wanted to cover here and just kind of bring to your attention that, hey, you know what? No Man's Sky, after about 2 years of being released, just last, I think it was November or December of 2018 is when they started getting some updates. So that's the reason why I want to kind of put it out here on the list for you guys. And also, I'm aware of it, and I really want it to succeed. It does look like a wonderful game, but I do have to stick that into stay away from category. Alright guys, so the next one, I don't actually have any footage for you, but this is another title that is actually going to be coming out from EA and DICE, the developers of what is now Star Wars Battlefront 2. It's called Jedi Fallen Order, and being a Star Wars fan, I'm actually pretty interested in this one. Star Wars Battlefront, I got it on a very discounted price, so I ended up buying that, and I do like it because of the fact that after a year, we're finally starting to put some content to it. They're starting to pay attention to what the customer wants, what the clientele, what the gamer actually is saying. Hey, you know what? It would actually make a lot better if this game was this way or this way. But I do have to put this one into a wait for review category, and I'll have to tell you why. Because of the fact that it's just given the track record of DICE, EA, I'm always weary about stuff that they put out. They have some awesome IPs. Of course, they have those because of the fact that they're buying up studios left, right, and center. But Star Wars, you can never go wrong with it as far as you're, being a Star Wars fan. But hey, we have to look here recently at the latest Star Wars movies that a lot of people just don't like. And then also the fan film that came out with I believe it was called Vader, if I'm not mistaken, and episodes that were come out from Star Wars fan theory, which it took actually someone from the community to make something that actually said, hey, you know what, that feels like a lot like Star Wars. It feels a lot like what we would actually want from it. So that's why I'm going to actually wait for this one, wait for more information. All we have is a tweet, if I'm not mistaken. So Jedi Fallen Order does seem like it's actually a pretty cool idea. It does take place after the Star Wars Episode 3, so we're going to see a lot of wonderful things come out of that, and we'll probably see Ahsoka. Hopefully that'd be pretty cool. But I will put it in wait for review, and if I start hearing stuff about microtransactions and stuff like that, then I'm going to definitely put it in a stay away from category, and I'll stick with the original Battlefront and Battlefront 2. So that's my take on that one. I do want it to succeed because it is Star Wars, but I am going to be very cautious because of the past that EA and I see a lot of videos with the comments and stuff that they're like, hey, you know what, if EA is putting something out, then I'm going to boycott it, or I'm going to go ahead and not buy it. So it's just one of those things that you have to keep in mind. If you're actually a publisher, then you have to keep that in mind and say, well, if what we're doing is not right and the public doesn't like it, so we have to kind of be careful with that. So yeah, I'm going to put that in the wait for review category until I have a little bit more information, and I might update the list and stuff like that. So yeah, next one is another one from EA, which is kind of crazy because a lot of these are coming on my list that, like I said, they have wonderful IPs, they have wonderful ideas. It's Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and yeah, I love the fact that I had the original game, Ori and the Blind Forest, which is a side-scroller 2D kind of platforming kind of game. More of a 2D side-scroller than anything, but it seems really cool. It's a nice new idea, and there was another game that EA put out, and I really wanted to play it, which was Faye. I did have the EA access. I just never had time. I downloaded it, but I could just never get myself around to playing that game. So it's just a lot of these little titles like that EA is putting out. So Ori and the Will of the Wisp, I will actually end up probably trying it for myself, depending on how I am financially and where I stand as far as making reviews and making videos and stuff like that, making content. I will probably end up putting in the category of try it for myself, either that one or wait for a review. So it's not something I'm going to completely stay away from, but I will actually want to, if I have the opportunity, to try it for myself. But if I can't, I always go back to waiting for the review and then deciding, okay, well, should I go ahead and try and play that game, or should I not? So there it is, Ori and the Will of the Wisp, which is actually wonderful, phenomenal graphics. It looks actually very beautiful. It does look a little bit like, The Last Campfire. It does have that little pretend kind of look to it, fantasy. There's some of those things that always catch my attention. I don't know about you guys, but it does catch my attention. So Ori and the Will of the Wisp is going to be something I'm going to try for myself, or like I said, wait for a review. Alright, so the final one on my list is actually another game that we don't have too much information on, and it is actually Titanfall 3. I've played both first one and the second one. I played the first one years later, which kind of stunk because I never heard about it until much later on. And when I played it, I was actually, hey, this is pretty cool, and this is actually before Titanfall 2 came out. So I'm hearing a lot about these titles and stuff before they actually get a sequel coming out. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I did like it. I don't like the fact that it didn't have a campaign. The original one, the second one did have a campaign. It was pretty neat, and it caught my attention. I like the multiplayer. There's some stuff that I wish they could have done just a little bit differently, but I really enjoy the fact that the microtransactions were only for skins. So it's not something that's going to alter your game. It's not going to something that's going to give you some sort of advantage over someone else. And that's the reason why I decided to go ahead and with Titanfall 2 is go ahead and purchase a couple of skins and just give the developer and a reward for so to speak. They don't put the microtransactions in, so or at least they haven't in the first couple of them. So they did put microtransactions in for Titanfall 2, but it was only for skins to change the way your appearance, some stickers, some emblems, some sort of stuff like that. So I did like the fact like that. So I did reward that. Like I said, some of the other things like EA and Anthem, I'm definitely going to stay away from because of the fact that they have a trend. They have a trend of putting in loot boxes within a game. So that's the reason why I'm going to go ahead and just stay away from stuff like that. But Titanfall 3 is something I'm actually very excited about. Now, it's also depending, and I'm sorry to say it like this, but it's depending on my finances. If I can actually get it together and play Titanfall 3 and buy it, or somehow get a review copy like that, that'd be pretty cool. So I'm going to go ahead and stick that into my wait for reviews category. So that's Titanfall 3. And yeah, it's something that I am actually very much looking forward to. It is a game that last year kind of didn't get the attention that I wish it could have, because it would have been nice to play a lot more fuller servers. But I actually I loved it. It was pretty cool. There were some things that I'm like, I wish they would have kept that the same from Titanfall 1 to 2, like the time to kill, and some differences with the HUD. I know a lot of people didn't like the fact that you can actually see in third-person view your pilot climbing into the Titan itself, but I just thought they were both pretty cool. Maybe alternate. Maybe put one in first person and another one in third person, or have the option. So there you go. All right, guys. So let's just go ahead and do a recap. Let's go ahead and start with the. Let's go ahead and start with the try for myself. So I put in the category. I put three titles. One was Kingdom Hearts 3. The next one was Crackdown 3. Which Crackdown 3 is just. It's kind of giving me doubts. Now that I've seen the actual gameplay footage, I'm like, I don't know. I put a video out. I was excited about it. I really like the fact that Terry Crews is in there, but when he stuck some of his lines in the game, it's like, I don't know if that works. It works for comedy. It works for sitcom. It works for television, but when you translate it into television, it doesn't sometimes work. But I will keep it in the same category. So it'd be Kingdom Hearts 3, Crackdown 3, and then Ori and the Will of the Wisp, which is something I'm actually very excited about, like I said. So those are games that I'm going to have to try for myself. Now, the wait for reviews are 3 games that we don't have too much information about right now, but I'm going to wait for reviews, especially with the 2 of them. So it's Halo Infinite, or Halo 6, which some people are referring it to as, but it is called Halo Infinite. And also Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. That's a game that I hope it does pretty good, but most people wanted the original Battlefront to stay that way. You can play with all the characters and stuff like that, instead of putting all these loot box system in there. And I know it was taken away in Star Wars Battlefront 2, but I just don't think it was good enough. I bought it, like I said, a year later, and it was on heavily discounted, so I got a deal there, and there is content coming out. So that's the reason why I'm going to stay and wait for a review and say, let's see what their opinions are about, the local community as far as what they think. Now, the next one, Titanfall 3. That is one that I'm kind of excited about. I'm like, ooh, I never even knew there was a Titanfall 3 in the works. But I will have to wait for a review and make sure we know what we're talking about when it comes to that game. So my final category, and this is the one that I just had to do it because of the fact that publishers and companies just start doing these trends, and they start trending towards not being consumer friendly, doing a lot of loot boxes. And typically, I'm a type of person that just, if I don't like it, I'm not going to buy it. I'm not ever going to go near it. Like I said, No Man's Sky I never gone near. So stay away from these, and these are my categories. It's Anthem and The Last Campfire, and The Last Campfire is from Hello Games, which are notorious for No Man's Sky. So yeah, Anthem, it seemed pretty cool at first, but and then given the track record, and I'm like, Mass Effect kind of feel to it, Warframe and Destiny, and what else? There's another game that eludes me. I've been trying to think about it here, but yeah, those are the games that I'm actually going to stay away from. It's like, and then not even to mention, EA's sports titles. I haven't touched those in years. I haven't touched Madden. I haven't touched the 2K basketball. So that's the reason why I stay away from that. And I just want to, like I said, I want to reward the publishers and the developers of the game that actually do stuff the right way, and at least in my mentality or my thinking. And that's Titanfall kind of stuff where you want to pay for extra scans or decals or stuff like that. That's perfectly fine with me, and I'm actually more than willing to go ahead and drop some extra coin in there. So guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a thumbs up. If you didn't, leave a thumbs down. Let me know what you think about these titles and my thoughts on them in the comment section below. I'm eager to hear from you guys. Well, anyway, check out my channel if you're new here. Look at some of the content. I have inspirational, motivational, I have reviews, I have video games, I have all sorts of stuff like GoPro videos. So check it out. If you like it, subscribe. If not, then that's okay. I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm signing out now. I'm sick and I gotta go take some medicine. I will see you when I see you. Take care.